I hope that you enjoyed your day off, though, because you weren't in here. Lefko was in with for you, and he and I had a chance to do our weekly interview on the dugout with a Mariners coach. This time, it was the mental skills coach, Adam Bernero. And I was really, really excited about this interview. It did not disappoint. The full interview is available on yesterday's podcast of Bump and Stacy. It's going to be hour 4, and it's the entire hour, not the interview. The dugout's the entire hour, but the interview starts it off, so you're jumping right into it. But the reason I bring it up, even though we had the interview yesterday, is I wanted to have you react as a former athlete, because Adam, the coach we spoke with, is a former athlete, and I think that experience and just kind of like personal experience with it is very important when you're trying to talk about what players feel. So he talked about, kind of his own philosophy when it comes to this. Here's what he said. Take a listen.
I talk about the moments between the moments. Whatever you see that happen on the field happen in the person's mind first. I just remember getting, in high pressure situations. I'd be in the middle of my delivery, and right before I throw the pitch, I was like, oh, man, I don't know if I should throw this pitch. And you throw the pitch, and it's right down the middle and gets hit for a home run. And then everyone's like, oh, man, this guy sucks. And it's like, yeah, my mind sucks. Like, I was good, but, physically I was good. But, I just had something going on that I couldn't quite, get my mind to focus on consistently throughout my career. And so those are the battles that guys are going through every day when they're out here. It's like they're going through a lot, whether it's physical fatigue or the mental drain of every day, just showing up with full intention. It's really hard to do.
How many conversations have we all had this year? Have you listening had with your friends about, hey, maybe this is happening between the ears for some of these guys?
Yeah, we've had lots, man, because we've seen guys not perform to the level that we're used to seeing. And we know physically they're more than capable of doing it. So what's the difference? It's got to start upstairs in the mind, right? We've asked the questions, are guys pressing a bit more because they feel that pressure, like, okay, this team is supposed to make the playoffs? Do they hear DePolo talk about how this roster was built to hit bombs? So now everyone's just trying to hit bombs. You got Suarez who hit 31 home runs last year in the last 3 to 4 seasons. Only one other human being on this earth has hit more home runs than him in the majors, and that's Aaron Judge. And now he looks nothing like the guy that we've seen these past few years. So naturally, that's where you go, because we know physically these guys can do it. There's like 6 guys on this roster where for sure they're going to play 10-plus years in this league, and they'll be fine. So that's where you go mentally. And I listen to that, and I start to think of the struggles I had mentally as a player. When I was in college, my freshman year, my very first start, I dropped a punt against Oregon, right? Muffed a punt. Thankfully, there was a flag on the kicking team. I got another chance at it. I caught it and took it for a touchdown. Boom. Didn't drop a punt throughout my whole college career after that, because in my head, I'm like, I can do this. This is easy. Let's get it. The best day of my life in the NFL was also the worst day of my life in the NFL because I scored a touchdown and then I muffed a punt. And for a week after I muffed that punt returns became so difficult to me for some reasons. I'm like, you cannot drop this. You cannot drop this. To whereas years before that, I'm like, give me the rock. I'm about to get busy.
Were you dropping it in practice?
I wasn't dropping it in practice, but it didn't feel as natural and as secure, right? Because I'm thinking about not dropping the ball. Whereas prior to that, I'm thinking about, I'm getting this ball and I'm taking it to the hood. That's to the house. That's a touchdown.
Got it.
So I understand the mental battles. That's just one mental battle that I went through. There's another battle I went through to where it's like, all right, they're bringing guys in to replace me. There's another 5'11", 190-pound receiver that they're bringing in. I got to fight them off, especially as an undrafted free agent. You're fighting them off. So now you're thinking, okay, what am I not doing? Why are they bringing these guys in? What do I need to get better at? Unless you are, there's about 0.0001% of athletes on this earth who have absolutely no doubt in their brains, and you got to mix that with the physical. That's what makes them the great ones, right? A lot of us fizzle out like my career did, and then you move on and you do other things. So it's a real thing, and once you start second-guessing yourself, I think that's where the mistakes really start to amplify. And we got a pitcher on our show right now, and Brady Bones. Like, Brady, when you were struggling as a pitcher, Take me through what your mental thoughts were when you were struggling, and then as opposed to your thoughts when you were just out there dealing.
All right. Well, one example, I know you kind of said it's something similar in football that happened, is like I come in from the bullpen, get called in to pitch. Step one of losing your confidence right there is when you come in to pitch and they're already warming somebody else up right behind you.
Oh,
if
no.
your coach
It's like
doesn't have
bringing the
confidence-
field in when you're
Yeah.
little.
It's like if the coach doesn't have confidence in you, I'm thinking, oh, do I have confidence in myself?
Yeah.
Can
Right.
I even throw a
Right.
strike? Do I have to prove myself here? Or is that just a just in case situation?
Yeah.
At least in my career, the biggest thing I struggled with was dominating the inner half of the zone. Because I threw a two-seam fastball, which moves inside to a right-handed batter. And the number one thing you're thinking, I'm throwing this pitch inside, don't hit him. Don't hit him.
Yep.
Whatever you do, square in the back.
Yeah.
Every time.
Take a listen to what Adam said here. This is about understanding how athletes think and feel.
Athletes understand how they feel more than they know how they think. So I try to get them to feel as much as possible. So, we'll get out there, and I know it looks kind of funky sometimes, but, we'll walk barefoot in the outfield, and, they can experience what they're going through internally that way. And once they understand that at a pretty good level, then it just shows up more for them on the field.
Do you find that sometimes what you're thinking might be like the ABCs, X's and O's of a game? Like, let's say that these guys are stepping up to the plate, or that you're going back to, punt return duties or whatever, and you're like, okay, I know the situation of the game. This is what I'm thinking.
Mhm.
But what you're feeling might be, I need to make this team. I need to get out of this slump. I need to hit a home run, or we're not winning this game. You know what I mean? Those are different things.
Yeah. Yeah. In my situation, it was every day. I got to stay here. Every day I have to stay here because obviously I was an undrafted free agent. But here are the things that I feel like get players out of that space. And I try to get my son to do this all the time. I go, you sit back and you imagine making every single play you can imagine.
Yeah.
Over the shoulder catch, down below catch, routing somebody up. He also plays soccer, man, hitting one upper V. If you can visualize it, as corny as it sounds, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how, and I think that's what a lot of the psychology in sports comes to, is just getting your player to believe and getting them to see it. I remember I struggled. I used to go back and watch old film to be like, all right, there it is. You can get it done. And when I coached at Monroe High School, I would have our guys before our games. We get their early games like at 7 o'clock. We get there like at 3:30. All the kids will go out to the football field, and I tell them, just walk the field and imagine making every single play possible. And I kid you not, I used to do that in college as well. I'd be in the huddle. As crazy as it sounds, I'd be in the huddle, and I'd get deja vu. I'm like, oh, I already know what's about to go down. And a couple times it went down exactly the way I envisioned it, because I'm like, I've been here before. There's a confidence
feel
that comes
a
with that.
natural
Yeah,
feeling,
you got to
yeah.
feel for it. So
I know this.
that's the separation between the average and the greats. The greats obviously have the physical to go with it, but they have some of the strongest mentalities of all time. I've seen Tom Brady throw a pick and not even flinch and come back and drive 80 yards for a touchdown. We've seen baseball players strike out a lot and come back and hit a game-winning bomb, but it's because mentally they're able to be in that moment of failure but not let it define you for the rest of the career or
Yep.
the game. And that's the toughest part with some of these guys.